You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Krissy Vaine. Oh yeah. The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
Welcome, beautiful people. Hello, hello. Today I am excited because I'm joined by not just my gorgeous co-host, but also beauty and anti-aging expert and former pro wrestler, Krissy Vaine. Hi, Krissy.
Hey, you guys. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here. And Ray, hello,
Yo.
Big Ray Hernandez is opposite of me, making everything run. So, hello, hello.
How are you guys doing today?
Sassy.
Seems like there's a full moon or something going on, but we're good. It's actually not a full moon, but the energy is weird.
You guys were talking about that, and I got to be honest with you. The energy has been weird.
The energy's been weird
over the last couple of days, but doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? Huh?
It's a test.
Yeah, I think there's just so many shifts going on right now, and that humanity is sort of changing so quickly, and our paradigms are changing so quickly that we're like, just like, get in for the ride, bitches, or like get left behind.
Hang on and go. So we're starting to populate. Hello to Winona. Hello, cool, awesome dude. Peter, hello. And Alex, AB Twitch, hi. Welcome, welcome. It's nice to see you guys. So today we're going to talk about some beauty tips, some anti-aging tips. We might, if we have some time, we're going to talk about a bunch of other things if we can hit them. If we're getting caught up in learning how to slow our aging down, because let's face it, we are a culture where we're on screens a lot and pictures and social media matter, and people want to know more about that. We'll stick to that topic. I wanted to mention off the bat that I will be in Tampa at Tampa Bay Screams this weekend on Friday and Saturday, so please come see me. I would love to see you. It's a fun horror convention. And let's see, what I also want to mention, I heard a really funny new term today. Have you guys ever heard of house mullet?
What? House mullet?
House mullet.
No.
Yeah. It's when the front of your house looks amazing, but the back of your house, not so much.
Oh.
I have a house mullet. So it's like my front room's all okay. My back is just like, I gotta shut the door. Don't go in there. So
probably a lot of people have that.
Yep. House mullet. So
That's funny.
It's funny because I kind of feel like a house mullet because I have you two ladies and then it's me. So I'm like the mullet part. Nobody's here to see me.
Yes. So AB Twitch, if you look on the website, you can see the times, but it's Friday night and Saturday during the day. I think it's 12 to 5 during Saturday. So Krissy, tell us about yourself. How did you end up getting into beauty and anti-aging from, of all things, pro wrestling?
So funny enough, I actually started my beauty career at the same time as I started my wrestling career, because I told my parents, I was 18 years old, and I told my parents that I was going to go to wrestling school and be a famous pro wrestler. And they said, the heck you are, and just only do that. You need to go to school and get a trade. And so they said, pick something that you like. And I said, well, I really like hair, beauty, makeup, that kind of thing. So I actually went to wrestling school and beauty school all at the same time. So I had been doing both like 20 some years.
Oh, wow.
Who trained you, if you don't mind us asking?
Originally, Jeff Rudd, Gemini Kid in North Carolina at CWF Mid-Atlantic. And then over the years, I had like amazing trainers like Dr. Tom, Ricky Steamboat.
Wow.
Les Thatcher was a huge influence in my career. Steve Kern. So many people. Like I was so lucky to have access to those because I'm from the Carolinas, where all those guys were Dusty Rhodes. Those guys were doing indies when I was like 20 years old and coming up in the business. So anytime there was a convention or something that I could attend where I could meet people and learn and ask questions. I'm like a student of life. So I love talking to people and asking questions. And so that's what I did until I was signed by WWE, like 5 years into my career. So, but it's funny, even when I was in WWE, I was still doing all the girls' hair and faces. I was doing the Bella's brows. I was doing Natty's hair. Like I was still doing beauty the entire time I was there as well.
But did you do the Rock's eyebrow?
No. Never touched the Rock.
It's funny. I do remember like every time we hung out, I learned something from you. I remember you coming up with a high def powder. You're like, oh yeah, girl, try this high def powder if you're on camera. It helps like all these little tips and tricks I got from you, like the sponge rollers. They're like, oh, you're like, oh, save time, use the sponge rollers and do this. And I'm like, I still use all of that.
Yeah, I just love beauty, just like I loved wrestling. And I just think I'll always sort of be involved with both to like some extent. But so I moved into anti-aging about 12 years ago. I've never looked back. It has just been an awesome journey. I'm in my 40s now. I'm 42 with a 5-year-old. And so there's just so much we can do nowadays. Like you see people like April and Gwen Stefani and J-Lo and
Gwen Stefani's older than I am.
Krissy Vaine. And you're like, oh my God, these people are not past like 35, but it's right now we have so much technology and it's constantly changing. So it's a super interesting industry to be a part of. So I love it.
Oh, it's funny. Hi, Wolf. How are you doing? And Cool Awesome Dude says, hey, Krissy, I remember seeing you in Deep South Wrestling years ago. You looked good back then. And you still look good today. And you know what? I actually think, I think you look better now than you did then.
See, I said that to April like 2 weeks ago. And she's like, oh, Ray, you're such a
That's because, well, she does my skin and she knows
don't tell me.
She knows how much I spend. It's like they always tell you need to put a retirement.
It's not cheap.
No,
it's not cheap. What we do is not cheap.
No. So they always say you got to save a certain amount for retirement, right? But they don't tell you need to save an equal or greater amount to make sure you don't look like you're going into retirement.
100%. And honestly, like the more that you invest in yourself and the more that you put into yourself, it pays off in dividends in other ways too. Because if you feel good, you look good, then that's just sort of going to radiate all over the place. And then people aren't going to be able to get enough of that vibe. Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. And AB Twitch, Alex says, I'm more interested in anti-aging without using apps. And I'm with you on that. Like, I don't want to use filters. Like I'm anti-filter.
I am actually the same way. I
do not want to use a filter
because I meet people every day. So I see influencers and people that come in and I meet them and they introduce. I'm like, oh wait, I want somebody to recognize me on an airplane if they follow me on social media. I don't want them to not be able to recognize me. So I will soften my photos a tiny little bit, especially if the lighting's not good, but I don't change my features. I'm not into that. I don't think that's good. So hopefully we will be moving. And I work in med spa and plastic surgery. So I'm not anti any of that. I think whatever you want to do to make yourself feel wonderful, but we really it's a little diluted, what we see on social media. And then also the expectations and trying to keep up. Yeah. Diluted, delusional. Yeah. 100%. That's why you'll see me on my Instagram stories with my hair balled up on the top of my head, not a lick of makeup, doing my skincare routine from every day because I don't want to show people just this super filtered airbrushed version because then you meet me in real life and you're going to be like, what happened to her? Like, which is what we sort of do a lot of times, like in spa or at like these conventions and stuff. I'm sure you run into people where you're like, oh, wait. Like,
I don't even recognize them. Like, for me, I put up pictures with no makeup on all the time.
Me too.
I'll get a good picture with my dog and the dog looks great and I don't. And I'm just like, I don't want to lose the moment. Fuck it. I'm putting it up there.
Well, 100%. And like, if you go back to like, I mean, those of us that grew up in like the 80s, 90s, we had cameras and we printed out film and not all those pictures were that good. And there was shadowing, but like, we're not here to be like perfect all the time. So like, I don't have any makeup obviously on that reel with my little one.
You don't need it though.
this one is completely all me, like in the red dress. Like, yeah, I try to just do light filters that soften the skin, if anything, because it's just not a fair reality to show people. And I work in this industry, so it's my responsibility to be an educator and show what people that actually work in this industry look like.
Right. And I'm just looking at your pictures. Anybody who is listening and not watching, you can look Krissy up at Magical Krissy.
Yeah, magical.Krissy. And that's pretty much the only
on Instagram.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I'm like active on is my Instagram. I have like Facebook and stuff. I'm just not active, but I'm super active on my Instagram and get on. Oh yeah, look, here's one of me crying. Like
right here? This one?
Yeah.
Let's click on that one.
Oh. Yeah.
Don't cry. Why are you crying?
So I spent a lot of time in therapy over the last 2 years. I had, sort of like so many of us did in like the 70s and the 80s, and even prior to that, like we were hit, and it was sort of a dictatorship, and it was our way or the highway, and that wasn't an individual like parents thing, that was like a societal thing. And I practice gentle parenting, so it's not ever like a dictatorship in our household. It's first of all, it's a conversation, and it's also a negotiation and what's fair to everyone. So I entered into therapy about 2 years ago. I wish I would have gone before I was in my 40s. Like I should have started much earlier. But there was just things that like my spiritual training weren't touching on, that I actually needed a clinical therapist for that, because I've done a ton of spiritual work over the years, but I didn't do anything clinical with like a psychiatrist and how the brain works, and what does trauma do to the brain. And so so I spent like a large part, and not that like my life was like falling apart or anything, but like I feel like you get into like your 40s and 50s and you sort of hit a like an apex where you're like, oh shit, things I've been like hiding from my entire life are now piling up on me. So like, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah. Or for me, when I hit the 40s, I was like, oh shit, what am I doing right now that I don't enjoy anymore or like? And I don't know if I want to spend time doing that anymore, because now I'm hitting the other side. I don't want to waste time and energy, because I don't have as much energy anymore. 100%. And obviously I don't have as much time anymore. So.
Yeah. So,
or how about when you get to that point when you turn 47, like I just did a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, holy shit, I was middle-aged at 30. Technically, you look back, it's kind of a wake-up call. It's like, you still have the second half of your life to live, but it's the quality. It's about the quality at that point.
Totally. I don't think 40s and 50s is necessarily old, especially nowadays with like technology, and we have vitamin infusions, and we have all these things that are like amazing that can keep us like young and youthful. However, there is like there's like that apex that you hit mentally where you go, okay, like, am I going to continue to be the way that I have been for a really long time? Or am I going to kind of try to address and adjust the things that I don't like about myself? And I entered into therapy for that, and also to just bounce off of someone else, like things that were going on in my life, that it's like, I don't even know that I know what's normal versus what's not normal, because I don't think I grew up in a functioning household, like a non-traumatic functioning household. Like I know I didn't grow up with that. And again, nothing against our parents. It was sort of generational, but I know for me, I wasn't set up with like healthy boundaries. I wasn't set up with like healthy ways to express myself. There was lots of like rage. And so that's what I've been trying to work on and learn and all of those things.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of us grew up where we don't know, our normal is not the ideal normal, shall we say. And then when you go into a career where that's not normal either, you kind of lose sight of, okay, where do I center myself? How do I ground myself? I don't want to say normal, because normal is subjective, but what is the right way how do I learn to respond and not react? So
Exactly.
yeah. What is appropriate in this situation?
Also attract, I think, the archetypes of your parents that haven't been healed. Is what I'm really learning, is like the archetype of your parents, like whatever the biggest unhealed relationship with, one of your parental figures, you attract that archetype over and over and over until
you mean as a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
Yeah, because I'm about to go yell at my wife. What are you talking about?
Or as a boss, or as a manager,
Yes.
or as a co-worker, or as like you will attract it over and over.
You marry your mother, you marry your father.
Yes. So if you have an overbearing mother, you're going to attract overbearing women,
and that's going to be your normal.
That's going to be your normal. So that's really what I've been sort of working on the past 2 years. And Ryan actually went into counseling together, my husband and I, and we're very open about it. We tell everyone, we're like, counseling is the best thing that anybody could ever do. Like, it's so helpful. And we worked with a trauma specialist who sort of works backwards on your lineage and your upbringing and, all of that, and why something sends you over the edge that doesn't send anybody else over the edge. So you're like, wait, what the people around you are going, like, why did you just lose your shit? Well, that's because you're being triggered most likely with something that you grew up around.
And I'm a big fan. I think people should go into counseling before they actually need it, or couples should go into counseling before they need it.
100%.
Because I think it offsets things before there's actually a problem.
100%. We wish that we would have went into and addressed all of that stuff 10, 15 years ago, instead of like, really it was sort of like having a child that brought it to the surface for us, where we were like, oh, okay, this has to be addressed, because we can't continue to create these really bad generational cycles and habits.
My father was a minister, and he wouldn't marry a couple unless they had several sessions with him, like counseling
That's wonderful.
sessions. And that was his MO. He's like, you got to see me, you got to talk some things out, and you got to learn from each other before you guys decide to tie the knot. I think it's
everyone should require that. Like, everyone can benefit from therapy, because everybody's screwed up from something. Like,
I think so.
It's a human experience.
We're getting some comments in here, and I just want to say hi to everybody who's come in late.
I can't see the comments.
You can click on comments on your side unless you're. So hi to everybody coming in late. Hi Eva. Hi Hitman.
She can't
War
see
Demon. What's up? Yeah. So Jay Hall. Who am I missing there? If I'm missing you, I'm sorry.
I just see a sugar mama. Me too.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Hello. And Wolf says, I've been seeing a lot of women in their 40s and 50s looking way better than these girls in their 20s and 30s.
100%.
I have a theory on that, right? So we grew up in a different generation, and the body type and the style of taking care of yourself when we grew up was much more stringent. We didn't have like a body acceptance or whatever it's called right now.
Definitely did not.
There was none of that. We were bullied. Like,
we had anorexia.
Yeah, we did anorexia. If you were fat, you knew about it because people were going to tell you about it.
Yes.
So I remember in wrestling what they told us to do. They said, if you think you're so hot, go strip down all your clothes. Go stand in front of a mirror and jump up and down. If anything moves, you're not in good shape. Anything other than other than your tits. If anything jiggles, get your ass in the gym.
What about my tits? What if they bounce? Is that cool?
So I think go ahead.
I'm not doing this shit now.
Shake them. Go ahead. Shake it.
Come on.
Boobies. So I think when we decide to get back into shape, or we don't let ourselves get out of shape, it's just a different standard from our generation. Whereas
100%.
The girls who are in their 20s now, they kind of grew up, I don't want to say easy, just differently.
I'm a parent, so I can speak to this. It is much easier for the kids.
So they're allowed to be slobby.
There are so many of us being parenting more consciously and with feelings, and how does my child feel about this? And we were not given that option.
Is this
nobody give a fuck about our feelings.
100.
We were to be seen and not heard.
Is this the same?
I wasn't even to be seen. I was told not even to be seen.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you ladies a question. Is this the same adage of, like, when I was a kid, my school teachers all look like humps. And now I look at my son's teachers and they look like you guys. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
My son has a really beautiful preschool teacher. Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, actually, both of them are really beautiful, but in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
cue that David Lee Roth song.
I don't have that, but back in the 80s when I was going to school, you know, teachers who were probably in their 20s and 30s looked much older and looked a lot different. And
so our parents did too. And our parents were like 40.
Yeah.
Old, man. And I guess maybe we do too to like teenagers, but I mean, like I remember
I don't think so.
Old when they were 45.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I have 24 and 25-year-old patients that I see here for microneedling and peels and, you know, these things. They're starting at the same age that we all started doing stuff. But they'll be like, girl, how old you is? And then it's hilarious because every single girl, Krissy's goals, like for when we get in our 40s. And I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. But I don't know, there is something different, because you got to think the golden girls in the 80s when we grew up, they were like in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
What?
I think one of them was in their 40s actually.
Stop it.
Yeah, they were young.
The younger one.
They made them look older so they could keep the show going.
No
yeah.
way.
Oh yeah, they aged them.
50s and 60s. And now I work with a 62-year-old. You've seen her before, April, and she is like thebomb.com. She's in one of my Instagram videos. I did a generational beauty Instagram video, and she's like 62 or 63 years old. Total babe. Total babe. And I have an 81-year-old that I'm going to post soon. She's actually, I had to look up what her generation was. She's considered post-war, and she's gorgeous. Yeah. Like gorgeous. So there's just so many things now that, you know, we can do: clean living, clean eating, low stress, right? Like, because stress will kill you. Stress will age you.
So I was going to say, so speaking of that, okay, lifestyle. I'm going to ask you what your top 5 or 10 things are for anti-aging that you know work. But as far as like things that people can do for lifestyle, what do you think matters? What do you think people can do to look better, feel better, you know, just be healthier, in your opinion?
So I think lifestyle is probably number one. I grew up in a very stressed out household as well, where money was a thing. Finances were a thing. I was only allowed to have like one slice of ham on my sandwich because like finances was like a thing. We waited till we were older to become parents and more established. We also, and I know April does this too, Ray, I'm not sure about you, but we live very, very simply.
Yep.
Like we simple and minimize. Cars paid for in I drive a 2016 car. Like
I drive a 2002, 2003 car.
I mean, my self-driving Tesla, I don't really
my cell phone's cracked, and it's been cracked for ages, and I don't care.
I don't get new phones every few years.
I don't either.
Like, I kind of put it off. Like, I don't really, Ryan and I have just chosen to live super duper simple. Like we don't we don't buy things that we can't afford. If we can afford it and pay for it in cash, then we'll get it. If we don't, then we don't do it. Like we just don't do it.
I like that.
We don't believe in credit cards. We don't believe in any of those things. Because
central bank digital currency.
When you have things weighing on you at night where you can't sleep, like that will, to me, age you faster than anything. In fact, I was in the middle of like a rental house reno over the last 6 weeks, which did stress me out. So I lost weight. My face isn't as full. And one of my clients came in yesterday and she's like, oh, girl, you look so skinny. She went and got me some cake because she thought I looked too thin. And that was just from a 6-week reno. That was
great
just a
friend.
6-week reno project.
You did look thin.
And it's over now. So my little bit of weight that came off will come back. Like it's fine. But we just I think the number one thing is to keep life simple. And I know, April, you are the exact same way as me. Just keep your life simple, keep your debt down, be good to people, even if they're not good to you, because then like it's going to come back. So like our renter screwed us over.
Fuck them kids.
Our renter screwed us over completely, but now I got somebody paying $1,600 a month more.
Good. I like to hear that.
So I was good to her. I gave her every opportunity. Then she screwed us. Well, her actions have nothing to do with me. So
and that's where your speaker is, by the way.
I don't do these very much.
It's okay. I like the emphasis.
Yeah. So Where? Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was clear.
Yeah. So I think that's, those are two of my big things, stress. And then also sort of an easy thing that people don't think of is SPF and hats. Like you will not see the sun touching my face.
Okay.
Like SPF and hats, because the sun will actually eat, even though I love the sun, it's good for you in increments. Sun will also eat away the collagen and make you look like sallow and gaunt.
Yep.
So I'm careful.
It eats away your lips. It thins your lips too.
Yes,
really?
100%.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It is true, and you shouldn't be using.
Older people have thin lips.
You shouldn't be using retinols or actives. Like April and I had to have a conversation about actives. About
just
a year
give me the
ago.
acid. I want the acid on my face.
She was like, well, using way too many actives, and that actually destroys your barrier. So we just try to stay away from actives and keep the barrier super clean.
I could see that. It's kind of like losing the enamel on your teeth.
100, right?
So for people that don't know what actives are, will you explain it to them?
So active is like a retinol, a vitamin C, things like that are acids on your face. So the older you get, the more acids that you put on your face, they're going to eat away that skin, make it more thin. You don't want thin skin when you get older. You want it thick and collagen rich.
Right, like
so
mine.
You do things like micro needling and micro channeling, and use serums with peptides. Peptides is one of my favorite treatments. Use serums with peptides so that it makes that skin thick.
Mm.
More honey. I love honey and lemon too. Like clean eating is a real thing too, even though I am not a perfect eater. I think April does much better than me at that. But like, yeah, all of that has.
April's cake has no icing.
No, I try, but yeah, I have my moments.
Real quick. So Krissy, look, a lot of dudes, nowadays are getting into the whole game of trying to look younger and stuff.
Yeah,
so
they are.
I was just wondering, and you had mentioned that you were talking about maybe perhaps having like an all male line. Now I'm a manly man. All right. I'm one of those guys that got raised by a pro wrestler, my dad, in the ring, and I was raised around wrestlers. So I kind of have like that wrestler's mentality and stuff. And I'm too tough to try to look pretty, but there's nothing wrong with that. So why don't you tell us about, for a guy like me, what would you, some advice on looking?
So I would say that my husband falls under that category as well. Yes. And he loves microneedling. Like he'll be like, we need to do my skin. And so let me tell you, those of you that follow wrestling may have seen him on Impact recently. So he signed with Impact a few months ago, and I went to TV with him and Dreamer, who hired.
Wait, who was your husband?
Yeah, Big Con on Impact.
Formerly of the Ascension.
So yes, formerly of the Ascension. So Dreamer comes over and he like sits beside me. He's like, "Yo," he's like, "What you doing with Ryan's face?" He's like on the Fountain of Youth or something. And I was like, he has a good esthetician.
That's funny.
So people notice. So we do microneedling for Ryan every month or two, and I've got him on like one little cream at night. Sometimes he does it, sometimes he doesn't.
Is there anything I can do at home? Like let's say on a budget. All right. I'm not super wealthy. I can't, spend 40, 50, 60, 100, $200 on products. Anything that you could recommend besides good sleep and talking and stuff
water.
That we can use?
A gallon of water every day is like huge. You'll see me chugging on, I normally have a bigger one than this, but you'll see me chugging on my water. This is actually, somebody was talking about Diet Coke and stuff. And I was like, yeah, me too. Because this is like one of those like drink flavors, like a sweet tea, because I'm Southern. But I drink a ton of water every day, but I also love my Diet Cokes and Coke Zero. I grew up in the 80s. We grew up on Diet Coke. So there's just some things that aren't going to be perfect.
Good, April.
No, I was just one of the things I remember. Okay, so yeah, I got Aaron using the retinols and the all the stuff too, and he got me started on grapeseed oil.
Oh yeah, it's an antioxidant, right?
I guess so. So I put it on my face, my neck, my chest, and I honestly think for some very little money that it is, I think that is a cheap it's It's a very, very moisturizing. You can put it on before you go to bed.
You know what else is really good? And there's like a lot of Amazon products that have. So Korean beauty is really good. And like snail mucin. So it comes over from South Korea. That's an amazing. My sister and my mom don't want it. Mucin, MUCIN. So yeah, that's a really good one too. For like, I think like $20, you can get it off of like Amazon. But my skincare products that I have on Instagram are all not like April. What I do like in the med spa is like $200. I have more affordable options online. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So my men's line, I think you can get all 3 products for like right around $60 or $80, and that's 3 products.
So this is your husband, your handsome husband's skin.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like before though, because now he's clean shaven. So he's clean shaven. He's lost a lot of weight. He actually looks really good.
He does look good.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Tell him I said that. I'm afraid of him, please.
Yeah.
Jesus, scary guy. Oof. Anyway.
So I was watching.
I use seed oil for cooking as well. I've actually never used it on my face. I see somebody commenting over here.
Yeah,
it doesn't burn at high degrees.
It's got a high smoke point, right?
Yeah, it doesn't burn at high degrees. So you can make I make like French fries, like cut up the potatoes and make French fries in grapeseed oil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's originally why I bought it, because I was like, oh, it's got a high smoke point.
Does it change the flavor of the food at all, or?
It doesn't really have a flavor. It's just kind of neutral. I like it. I haven't used, because olive oil, burns and scorches.
Very low.
But grapeseed doesn't. So it's great to cook like again, I'm Southern, we fry things.
Yes.
So anything I need to fry, I put in the grapeseed oil.
There you go. So retin-A. So I'd heard that this was something, and I know you use it minimally, but I saw another dermatologist who listed things that work. So his favorites were microneedling, retin-A, certain moisturizers. That's where his top 3s. So retin-A is great as long as you're not going to be like in the sun. Again, if any of those active, so it's really hard for those of us in Florida. When I was in North Carolina, I used retin-A every day. If I was in New York, I would use retin-A every day, except for in the summer. That being said, those of us that are in Florida, it's really hard to use retin-A when you're in Florida because the sun is so strong. And if your skin is sensitive, it's called solar damage. If your skin is sensitive from the retin-A, then it will the sun will burn your skin and then burn your collagen away like times 100. So for those of us in Florida, if we're going to stay out of the sun completely, retin-A is fine. But if you're going to be in the sun, you have to be very, very cautious. Wow. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. So I love peptides. That's my go-to. Peptides. Because peptides are an amino chain acid that trick the skin into creating collagen. It also makes the skin thicker. So it's a new thing that's coming out as well. Exosomes like stem cells. So that's like a new thing that's coming out. Anytime you can use your own body for regenerative, do that.
Okay.
I'm right here on what is this? The Magical Life.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Krissy is also a shaman, which a female version of that I think is called shamanka.
Yeah.
So she's very spiritually guided.
Yeah, so I haven't done a ton of coaching in the past 5 years because I just got too busy with having a little one and then also my beauty business. But what I did in my beauty business is I just started combining everything that I did spiritually as well as beauty treatments in itself. And I'm really lucky the spa that I work at allows me to just be me, and they love it. And so I often incorporate energy healing or, chakra alignment, whatever you want to call it, into certain treatments should people need it. So they joke that I'm like the therapist around here because people come to see me not just for skin, but they come just to talk.
I'm going down your little link tree here. And you have your Amazon favorites, your shop spas, teas. But I'm really interested in the whole spiritual aspect of it. Again, being raised, by a pastor and stuff. And my father was very chill, down to earth guy, not judgmental, like me. But we, very open minded. My father, well ahead of his time. And spiritualism is something that I believe. Also, now this is my opinion. Now you tell me we're on the same wavelength. also helps keep you young when you're in touch with that spiritual side. Can you tell us a little bit about like your thoughts regarding the connection between beauty, not only exterior beauty, inner beauty, and your connection to, the outside, things that are floating around and making us all beautiful and happy and stuff?
Yeah, I agree with you. I come from a long line of Methodist ministers, so I agree with you on that. And I grew up with, Jesus and God and Sunday school and all the things. And I love all that. But the older I got, the more that I realized it just wasn't in a box. And no, I do come from a little bit more of a dogmatic background where it was like hell and damnation and,
me.
like...
Not my dad as much, but the church.
100%. So I sort of shied away from that. But what's funny is that the more I'm around people and the more that I talk to people, I'm learning that everyone is really starting to come. Like I had a Methodist minister come in here the other day and see me in the sauna. She was a female Methodist minister, and she had just left the church because they weren't allowing, certain types of people to come in or certain types. And she was like, "We are in 2023. Like, get with the times. Like, why are we still preaching hate and dogma and all the things?" And so she actually had like left the she was awesome. And so the more that I get out and talk to people, the more that I'm finding that most people feel the same way as we do, and that it's all sort of the same. It's like God, spirit, universe, whatever it is that you believe in. But I do believe that believing and having faith in a higher power somehow makes your life more aligned, I guess.
There's a hope. There's always a hope when you have that connection to spiritualism, There's always a hope. There's love.
It's like, and like when the renter left a few weeks ago without notice, my husband and I were like, this is awful right now, but we know something is better on the other side. And it was about a 6-week turnaround, but we're now getting $1,600 more a month than what we were getting before. It's like, but we kept our actions in alignment and like stayed good, even though it would have been really easy to be like, F you, asshole. I'm not sending you.
You can still do that if you want to.
And so
it was a test. You passed the test.
We just chose, he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to send her back every dime of her money." I said, "I just want to be done and move on." I said, "I want to send her back every dime."
Wow.
And he said, "I think that's what we should do too." And it wasn't easy. And I think, April, I saw you right after all that. And I was like still tripping balls a little bit. Yeah. But like I knew, like
I was your therapist that day.
If you keep everything right, if you keep like yourself in alignment, even when it's hard, that things always work out for you. So it wasn't even 2 weeks later that it was only like a week later, I think, that the house rented out $1,600 more than what we were getting before, and to people that are running a business. And so they're going to have cleaners in twice a week. Like, I mean, it was just crazy. They're going to do upgrades for us that we don't have to pay for, like all this crazy stuff. And I was like, this is what happens when you keep,
and that's what keeps you glowing. What keeps you
exactly. Like that's what keeps you on the path. And even though it can be challenging, it can be hard at times to like not be a jerk back when people are a jerk to you. I think that the bottom line is like karma is real, and just like stay with it and it'll work out.
I mean, not for nothing. Like, listen, April, let's be real. You had a co-host before me, and you were breaking down and stuff, and we started working together and feeding off each other's energy, and all of a sudden, like it's smiling and things are kind of popping off, and then big shout out.
That's what I was just about to say. Things are popping off now. Like that's what I was about to say.
See the connection? Unbelievable. By the way, I felt like I knew Krissy. When we jumped, I feel like I knew you already. If that's weird.
Yes, have we like crossed paths before?
We probably have.
I said to Ray, I said, your voice is so nice. Like he has like the nicest voice.
Oh, that's appreciated. And then I put over her husband's tag team partner, because that man has a really nice voice.
He does have a nice voice too. Nick has a nice voice too.
Yeah, we're actually, there's quite a few people in here who have mentioned Team Blondage, and then Team Blondage, Team TNA with our stuff. And
I love that.
Yeah, thanks you guys for remembering all of that. We appreciate it.
Totally.
And hi to Chuck, and hi to the Felipe, and hi to everybody who's come in late. It says, question for Chris, but can you lift the curses? Can you lift the curses that seem to be on April and myself? I think that's up to us to do. No, you know.
Yeah, so I wouldn't I think that you're labeling it incorrectly. So I wouldn't label it curses. I would label it lessons and say if the same thing keeps happening to me, what's the lesson for me to learn in this? And if I can get past this lesson, here comes the blessings.
Can I say something real quick? You know how some people, and check this out, some people, they whistle, right? They whistle or they hum the same part of just a part of a song all the time. And what that is subconsciously, that's you trying to figure out or remember the rest of the song. And you can't, hear me out, you can't do it until that is accomplished. It's like a subconscious thing. Same thing with life lessons. You know, you'll fall, you'll make mistakes. 100%. And then it just literally, when you finally figure out, oh, wait a second, instead of me going left the whole time because I'm turning around in a circle, let me turn right here. Let me do something a little different. And also, before you jump in, also the positivity of keeping good people around you. That's why I do this show with April. I'm not even kidding you, April. No, I'm serious. April, I get a lot of positivity off of doing this show and the people in the chat and everything like that. That's why I love doing this stuff. Am I off here?
No. I think also people, we as humans, we try to we're on the hamster wheel, And I think that we don't know how to pause. So I did a video last week when all this was going on and the chaos and the money and the this and that. And I didn't know what to do. And I said, you know what, I'm just not going to do anything. And normally it works itself out. But we as humans, we try to control. We're we got to control everything. And oftentimes if we just sort of let go, and just don't even go take a nap, go relax, go to the beach.
It's turning the computer on and off again.
Give it some time. And oftentimes, I mean, I got an email that Thursday night. I think I saw you on Tuesday, April. I got an email that Thursday night, and then there was my new renter offer getting way more, plus all these benefits of her business being run out of it. She's an interior designer, so all these benefits of her business being run out of it. And then there was my answer, but I could have toiled on that for a few days rather than just being you know what, I'm not going to do anything, just screw it. I said my little prayer, put me where I'm supposed to be, and then it works itself out. So
okay, so one of the things you say about I actually think this contributes to being healthy and or anti-aging, as well as the people you have around you. I think it's really important to have good people around you. It can really, how do I put it? It matters. You know what I mean? You have good up people. They say that you are the 5 people around you. So if you
exactly.
If you have 5 shitty people or even 3 shitty people, you might want to change your room, for the betterment of yourself. And something else that I read recently that I thought was amazing is certain private schools. I don't know if they're private schools, religious schools, I'm not sure what, but they're implementing a 45-minute think session for their kids.
I like that.
Where my friend's doing a podcast on the school systems and what's wrong with public schools and how they were designed by
100%
designed by the Germans to make factory workers and kill the entrepreneurial spirit, and then what some of the private schools are doing well. And the private schools, one of them is that he knows of, is doing a 45-minute period of time for the kids where they are just quiet time to think, and that's it. So no phones, no devices, no talking, just to kind of regenerate their brains and let them, whatever thoughts come. And
my son's teacher does circle time, and he's just in pre-kindergarten, so VPK, and they talk about their emotions. They do circle time a few times a week, and they just talk about, am I happy? Am I sad? Da, da, da. But she has an anthropology background, which I think I told you the other day.
Yeah.
And it's there are people in the system, and he's in a public school trying to change things. And I think it has to change. Did you know also they're not doing homework that much anymore? They're eliminating... Yeah,
I noticed that too in my son's high school.
Yeah, you should not do homework. It's not realistic.
No,
it's like working a 40-hour week and then taking work home with you.
Right. Now, if you're not, you should teach people to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are going to have homework, obviously, but we're not yet at that point where we're teaching kids to be entrepreneurs. We're teaching them to, so if you're teaching them to be factory workers, why are you giving them homework too?
Word.
You're
100%.
ruining their playtime. You're ruining their
they're really
childhood.
starting to eliminate that from the schools. I've talked to 2 moms in the past week that I said, oh, do your kids have homework? Because I'm worried about that. Because I don't even work 40, 50 hours a week. I work like 30, and that's plenty. Because I also have my other projects that I'm doing. And so I was worried about him going into school and having to come home. He's already a Virgo. So he's like super intense and like super perfectionist. April's a Virgo too.
No, I'm Libra.
Oh, you're Libra?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew you're on the cutoff, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
I'm a Pisces. How does that work?
Oh, I love my Pisces.
I'm a guy Pisces.
The Pisces, such soft, nice, flowy energy.
I'm a fish.
Such nice flowy energy. But my Virgo is already like super intense. So then you're going to put all that pressure on him. That's like a lot on an already critical, personality by default. I'm the same way. I'm Capricorn. So I was always super critical of myself. I still am. So I think that the school system really needs some.
I'm pretty sure all 12 zodiacs hate homework. It doesn't matter what you are. They hate it.
But the Virgo will sit and obsess about it being perfect along with some other people. And so if it's just not even a thing, which it shouldn't be, they're in school 7 hours a day.
Exactly.
No, that's too much for an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or whatever. It's too much pressure. You're stripping them of their childhood and their playtime.
AB Twitch, you're same as me. I'm Libra, Scorpio.
Everybody's throwing in their signs. So you got a Gemini.
I love it. We didn't know we were going to get into astrology today. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Alex, you're good with balance, but you're okay to embrace your dark side.
Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio rising, so yes.
Scorpios are okay with the dark. We like the dark.
Truth seekers as well, Scorpio.
Yes, I would never have guessed that.
I know nothing. I know nothing of this. What does my aquatic sign really mean for me as a personality?
So,
also, what's your rising and what's your moon?
Right, your rising and your moon are really important. Get on the Google.
Yeah, they only do day. The sun sign.
All right, what do I got to look up? And
so you gotta type in moon.
Hi, Brian.
Moon calculator, like a zodiac moon calculator, and rising sign calculator. As long as you know your birth time, it has to be within 4 minutes, or it won't be accurate.
9 a.m. It's 9 something.
Perfect.
Your birth time and your place.
Yeah, and your place. Jesus which obviously everybody knows their place, but a lot of people don't know their birth time.
So I was born, I think, at 9:30 a.m. on March 15th. So is that what I do? I'm putting it in.
You put it in. You put it in.
1976.
Yes.
1976. I just highlighted the 15th here, and go.
Chinese zodiac, I love too. Somebody's asking about
I don't
Chinese.
know much about that. Do you know much about that?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah,
there's
I only know a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's a book by Suzanne White that if you want to learn about Chinese zodiac, highly recommend. And she'll do Eastern and Western together.
So help me out here, girls. What am I looking for here?
I want this total space the approximate. No, that's not what you're looking for. No. Go to astro.com. I'll walk you through it.
We'll do it live. This will be fun.
Yeah, go to astro.com.
.com. Okay. All right, we're going here.
There you are.
Go to horoscopes.
Okay, horoscopes. Where's that?
No, right there at the top left.
Top left, horoscopes. Boom. I'm in
there.
Go
to chart drawing ascendant under drawings, calculations, data.
Got it. Just like the ascension. Got it.
Yeah. And then you can do visitors, enter birth data.
Enter birth data. Wow, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Agree. I don't care. I'll sell my soul. All right, got it.
And then fill all that in and make sure you get the birth time correct.
I don't care if everybody knows my name because everybody knows my damn name already. So it's fine. Right. All right. I'm doing this. All right. So while I'm doing this, you girls could talk about how, weird this is.
I'm going to watch and make sure that you get your time and stuff right. Because if you mess up at all, it'll not be correct.
Okay. So I'm putting in March and I'm putting in
March. Yeah.
1976 hour. Okay. Definitely not. I'll put 9. I think it was 9:30. So
AM. Alex, I agree with you. It should be noted that one's astrological signs does not excuse one's actions. I'm 100% with you.
100.
So New York. Where's New York? New York. Here it is down here.
Oh my gosh, Friday the 13th. I love it. That's one of my favorite. 13 is the number of the goddess.
Is it?
Yeah, 13 is the number number of the goddess. That's why they made it bad luck, because it's a very powerful day for women. Okay, so I can read
also
this.
a coven of witches is 13, so that's why I thought they
exactly
made the number 13 a bad
so
luck
your moon
number.
is in Virgo, Ray, which makes you very good at detail, because your moon is your emotions and like how you like process things, and also how you are behind closed doors. So your moon is in Virgo, and your ascendant, your rising is Gemini. So intellectual, good at computers and technology. Your rising is how you present to the world and how people see you. So when people are around you publicly, you give off very Gemini energy, which is intellectual, chatty. Geminis love to chitty chat.
True. I talk so much. I don't shut up.
Let me see let's see where your north node is.
Okay. This is so cool, by the way, April. I hope you don't mind this.
No, not at all.
Your north node is in the 6th house of work. So it's for you to figure out your daily activities and daily work. That's your life's purpose and your life's goal. So 6th house is like daily activities, daily routines.
Can I ask you a question? Can I stop you real quick? Is there, because for me, my wife says I never sit down. I'm always needing to figure things out and do things. Does that have anything to do with my personality, you think?
Well, I think that's probably your Gemini rising. Like, so in your top 3, having a heavy Gemini of anything is going to make you like the little Energizer bunny.
Right.
But the north node is in what sign is it in?
But I can't wait to
Scorpio. So your path in life is to go deep with people, to get to the truth of things.
That's what he does. He goes right for the jugular with us.
No, 100%. So that is like your life path, and you're supposed to be doing like that as much on a daily basis as you actually can.
I'm getting chills because, all right, so I have a job where I basically facilitate a building. I'm a doorman, and people open up to me all day like I'm a freaking psychiatrist.
Yes, that's because you have a Scorpio north node, which makes people like, he can see who I am. Like,
I'm getting goosebumps. I swear to you.
He can see who I am, so they feel like that you're like their long lost like person, and they just want to tell you everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
I get that insane.
Too. Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else. So
tell me.
I'm gonna die with so many secrets.
Me too, because I'm a Scorpio rising, so I have a heavy Scorpio placement too. Are you Scorpio rising too, April?
Yeah, Scorpio moon and Scorpio rising.
Yeah, I knew you had heavy Scorpio placements. So your top 3, your sun, moon, and your rising are like considered your top 3 and the heaviest part of your entire chart. So your Chiron is your biggest wound, and that's in the 12th house. So 12th house is often hospitals, jails, mental institutions, psychiatry, things like that. So there could be something in your past with a wound.
Time out. So my father who's born on the 17th, March 17th, was a minister, but his passion was working with convicts and going to prisons and stuff.
Oh wow!
And I'm not kidding. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. That's what he did. He did it.
Because this house covers jails and mental institutions. And,
that is crazy. He was part of he established this thing called the Broken Chains Ministry.
Oh wow, that's insane. Did that take away from what he did with you guys, or
it did.
I was gonna say, so because there's a wound there, because your Chiron is your biggest wound. So if that affected you guys,
you probably think I'm working here. This is like, it's crazy right now.
No, I've done this so many times that like, it's astrology is weird, right? So let me see if there's a way that we can like work on healing. So but see, Jupiter's there too. So Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So, and Jupiter is also the bringer of luck. So it would be good for you to dive into things of depth like that, like psychiatry, mental health, like that kind of thing, because I think that Jupiter there brings blessings, and that will help to heal the Chiron.
So you're saying that, because I always had the desire in my heart, not here in New York. For some reason, I was telling April, because me and my wife are moving to Florida.
Good.
I feel like that's what I wanted to do there. I wanted to work with younger folk that are having problems, because that's what my father did.
Absolutely. I feel like that would help to heal the wound that your father had, because maybe you guys felt like it was taken away from you, or like something to that effect. But the Jupiter there brings blessings. So I would 100%, I'm looking to see if there's anything else. Sun in the 11th house. Your sun is in Pisces in the 11th house. So 11th house is like groups of friends and community. It's the house of Aquarius, but Pisces is there. So like surround yourself again with like the community is really good for you. Don't alienate.
This is insane, April. I'm going crazy
here. She'll have to give you a full reading.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else clear. Okay, so moon represents mother. So your moon is in Virgo, and it's in the 5th house of creativity. So was she like crafty and creative and things like that? Because you get that part from her.
We're all artists.
Craft. Oh, so
I went to art and design.
Astrology is real.
I went to freaking art and design high school. I did. I went to art and design high school.
That's crazy. So so I can see it right here in your chart. Isn't that insane?
So here's a theory, right?
Oh my God.
Ray? Okay.
Can I close this now? I'm getting creeped out.
I have a theory, and I don't know if this is real or not. This is just a theory. So I think this is going to sound weird, but I have these theories. I think when we're born, we're almost born, we're souls wearing a human body, or, our souls are the driver, body is the car, but our souls have almost like a barcode attached. And these barcodes can be read by light workers, whether that's tarot, palm,
I agree,
astrology. And I think when we veer off the path of where we're supposed to be for the lessons and the purpose that we have on Earth, I think the light workers can tell us how to get back on path, because they know how to read that barcode and get us where we're supposed to be. Whether that's your chart, whether that is your palm, whether that's your numerology, they know how to say, okay, this is where you are supposed to be. This is what your soul's barcode is. You're not working to your potential. You're not where you're here for a reason, and you're not doing it.
Yeah, it's really a blueprint of the soul. And I wish, so I have an interesting story. The Bella twins' mom, Nicole and Brianna, were the people that I was closest to in FCW. And I was a hot mess, full of scared of like going to hell in a handbasket, like the whole thing. Like I was just a mess. Nicole and Brianna's mother got them a professional astrology chart reading when they were 18 years old. That was her gift to them. So they had that soul blueprint from 18 years old. And so that's what I'm going to do with my little one. I'm going to teach him about his soul blueprint and how do we take the shadows and turn them into, and all the things. But they had that blueprint very, very early on. And I didn't stumble upon mine. I saw a professional astrologer in the beginning of pandemic, and she looked at me and she said things like I just did to Ray, because then I became obsessed, because I was like obsessed. How did she know that? Like obsessed. So I just started studying it. And so now I've been studying my chart, my husband's chart, and my little one's chart for 3 years now. And it's insane. I wish I would have had access to it when I was younger. This is another thing they should teach in school. Something like get to know yourself.
I'm going to interject there for something though.
And then I have a question.
On the flip side, there's a dark side to that. So I have a friend whose mother was into all of this, and she went to, I guess, somebody who was not legit or whatever.
Santeria? Like the dark side?
Well, I mean, she was into astrology, and the fortune teller or whatever told her mother that she would be dead by the time she was 35.
Yeah.
And her mother killed herself. So on the flip side, you have to be very careful.
Well, 100%, because our voices and our words have power.
Oh, you can speak things into existence. Absolutely.
Yes.
Just like God, I believe.
Yes.
So you do have to be very careful. Like, and I took like a lot of communication. April, I've even told you about books that I've read on communication and how to talk to people in gentle ways, because we've had lots of talks about how we're in our masculine energy a lot of times. So we can come across like super harsh or super blunt or whatever it may be. So I've taken a lot of communication courses and read a lot of books over the years on how to communicate in a gentle way, things that will help people just get along their path a little easier and make things a little easier for them. But I had a terrible astrology reading after I had the good one for that girl that I interviewed, like a show like this. I went and I found a girl on Facebook, and I should have known she was a scammer. She was like all over me, like white on rice, trying to get me to pay her for a reading. But anyway, she got me, and she told me she told me I would be like divorced within the year, like all these crazy things. And then I went on an astrology board, and I got recommendations for a person that everyone highly recommended. And then I had another reading, and that lady sort of clarified, well, yes, of course, this could mean that, but you could also use it for the death and rebirth of your marriage, which is what we did. So
can I ask a question? This is
really
what
Lisbeth said. So
I'm going to bring this up. It says there is also the 100%. Fact that when it comes to tarot and a lot of what is it?
Divination tools, like we were talking about vulvamancy last week.
I like that. I went to see my wife after that, by the way. Read cards.
There you go.
That one is possible. One possible outcome, because we do have free will. Mm-hmm. I have to ask you this question because it's eating away at me really quickly. After you did this reading for me, right, and you kind of broke things down for me, I'm being very genuine here, guys. You guys know I'm straight up. So here we go. I had all this anxiety prior to this show today. There are things that are going on, and it's weird because like after you did this little reading to me, it felt like the anxiety kind of washed away, even though the problems are still there. So can you kind of explain what I'm going through right now spiritually?
So I think April and I sort of fall in the same ideas about how we feel about this. So I think that God's spirit universe uses the voice of others to speak to us when we can't hear it for ourselves.
Oh my God!
Like science divination system people, yeah.
Yeah, I think because it happens to me all the time. I know it's happened to you. Like it's just God, spirit universe uses others to speak to us, and that's because if we can't hear it for ourselves, then they have to use someone. And I am a fairly open vessel. I'm not open all the time, but I'm a fairly open vessel and channel to where I can sometimes download that down and bring it out. But again, I think that anybody that does tarot, astrology, cards, if they're good, then I think that they can do that.
Yeah, Peter right here is saying you have to be careful with tarot decks.
100%. You have to be careful with any of it.
With any system, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because the spiritual is a powerful, whether you believe in spiritualism or not, spirituality is a very powerful gift.
Yeah,
that was given to us.
Use it or abuse it. There is such a thing as spiritual narcissist, spiritual abuse, all of that. So,
yeah.
By the way, guys, you girls don't know this, but me and Elizabeth, I'm going off cuff real quick. We have she's from Cleveland, I'm from New York, and I already won a bet where the Yankees beat the Cleveland Guardians, and she sent me some cookies, and now the Knicks are going to be playing the Cavs. So. Elizabeth, you got to send me raisin cookies. Oatmeal raisin cookies. That's not good when the Knicks beat Cleveland. But anyway, I'm sorry about that. Wow, so, I'm just like I'm blown away here.
Raised done for the day.
I just it's crazy, you guys. I feel like it feels like I'm floating in water right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's weird. I had my chart done, and I hate the idea. Like I'm a common sense, more scientific-minded person. So I don't like the idea that a bunch of people who can be born on the same date in the same month can have the same character traits. To me, it just seems
I agree.
Ridiculous.
But that's where the minutes come in, because no one has your exact second and your exact minutes, because certain
But I was just going to say, when I did my chart, it was very strange how
certain delineations and certain calculators. But that's why you have to have your birth chart, because if you just or your time, because if you just have the even the twins, we'll go back to them. Their charts were totally different because they were minutes apart.
Mm-hmm.
So so that really matters.
Yeah, I love. I follow a couple of the psychic mediums and the oracle, all of that. It's fascinating to me. Again, I take a lot of it with a grain of salt, but it's
I'm sorry, but right now, Krissy just kind of hit the freaking ball out of the ballpark. And I've never experienced anything like that before.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to pop your cherry.
It's not that long. That happened a long time ago, kiddo.
Ray, when I moved to Florida, I didn't really know that many people. So Krissy came over when I first got my apartment. I remember it was May of like 2010, and I'm in Clearwater, and the place is just, hey, Colin, what's up, you guys?
That's
what's
the negative.
up?
That's the negative energy, right, Colin?
So I started hanging out with her, and I didn't know it meant very. There's some people in the area, but not many people. And at that point, Krissy had gone pretty much full, like, I want to say full woo woo.
Full woo woo.
Full woo woo.
Yeah, so I've been in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah. So she's like, it was all tarot cards and crystals and the whole thing, and zodiac, I like the whole thing. And I was like, all right. So, she's like, let me read your tarot. I'm like, okay. And it's just blowing my mind. I'd never had anything done like that before, ever. And it was my first real introduction. And she was like, at the time, she was not working. And she's like, I'm just going to live off the universe, girl. So she...
How my words came to how my words came to kick me in the ass later on.
She was telling me she went to like Busch Gardens, and she's like, oh, I wish I could. She wasn't working, so she didn't have the money at the time. She's like, I wish I could have a turkey leg.
And then apparently brought me one.
Some dude brought her a turkey leg.
I swear to God, someone goes, hey, they just gave me an extra. Do you want it? And I was like, from my mouth to God's hands.
I'm telling you, listen, people do not understand.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to what it is you're telling me here.
And so I always used to have to tell Ryan to stop blocking my blessings because people would bring me stuff. They still do. People would be like, here, Kristen, you can have this.
My luck,
or here, Kristen, bring. And Brian would be like, no, we're good. We can buy our own. I'd be like, stop blocking my blessings. Because that's another thing. Like if you can't receive, then like the universe takes that as like you can't be abundant. So you have to learn how to receive and not just give, because most of us give but don't know how to receive.
That's incredible. And also, I just really want to be clear when I said before that there's a lot of power in uttering things into reality. And it's true. You can talk anything into reality, and it's 100% true. Positivity and also negativity. That's why people listen. Maybe we joke around about people. Oh, you're so sensitive now. Words shouldn't hurt that much. That's negative. That's negativity. If you're spewing negativity and all the person's going down their little timeline and they're seeing all this negative stuff about them, am I wrong, Krissy? It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, and I also think that we have to be, so I talk to a lot of people about their money consciousness. My sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner, and my brother makes a great living. They have a super blessed life, and she was asking me about some of my skincare last week, and one of my skincare creams, not that is my personal, but it's Elastins. It's what I sell in the medical spa. It's $199. And she like started going off about $199 and it's so expensive and they can't afford that. And I said, you and my brother are two of the most abundant people that I know. I can't imagine words like that coming out of your mouth. I was like, maybe just restructure that and say like, I have to be conscious right now. And maybe I'll have to like cut on groceries a few weeks so that I can like, make the budget for the skincare cream, because we deserve to have nice things. We deserve to treat ourselves. Like, so I talk to people a lot about money consciousness and your words, and you should never, ever say, I don't have any money, or I can't afford that. Oh, no. You say, I have to be conscious right now. And maybe right now is not a good time to spend that money, but I will have it soon.
That's my wife, man. See, I'm the warrior.
I like that.
I'm always the one that says, oh, hun, I think we should hold back. And she's like, look, we have to live our lives. We'll figure it out. And we always do. We always end up. And I think that's her energy. It just,
don't
just
block her
out.
blessings, Ray.
God damn it.
Ray.
Damn it. I think that's what it is. I've learned over time, almost 10 years with this woman, I've learned to just let go and trust. That things are going to work out.
Yeah.
They usually do.
And you also have to think, like, I'm a big believer in like using your gifts. Like, what are your natural gifts, talents, and abilities that you can gift to the world, because you will be rewarded greatly for that. So I've always been gifted with understanding beauty and understanding how to make people pretty and understand. And so it's like, I gift that to people, but then they pay me tenfold for that because it's a service. I gifted a lot of my energy work and a lot of my healing work over the past 2 years, but I'm making more money than I've ever made in my entire life because I'm giving away my gifts. I'm, making money, of course, like it's business. We live in a world where we have to work and make money, but I'm a big believer in gifting, because then the universe says, oh, like they're giving to the universe, whatever, and I'm going to give back. But I get onto people all the time. Don't ever say I'm broke. I don't have any money. I can't afford that. Oh, no. I have to be conscious for now until I manifest that. I have to be conscious for now.
I like that.
Elizabeth says, I'm blocking your cookie blessing. Oatmeal raisin. Remember, I'm speaking that into existence.
I like that. So, no, I think words have energy, and I totally agree with you. We've talked about word magic and read some passages from that book on here before. So I totally agree with you. And hi to Brian, and hi to everybody joining us late. Thank you for being here. So now that we'll swing back and then we'll come back again. If people can do just say 5 things to turn back time, what are your favorite 5 things that would do that for them?
Water, SPF,
okay,
low stress,
okay,
some sort of faith in something,
okay,
and peptides.
Peptides?
Yeah.
What's that? Okay. What's that? What's
so
peptides?
So peptides is normally in a serum form. Peptides are the amino chain that is the building block that tricks your skin into creating collagen. Once we get past like our early 20s, we sort of stop creating collagen and elastin. Elastin is the structure of the skin. Collagen is sort of like what holds it up. And so we have to trick the skin, and a great way to trick the skin, and you can do peptides orally in like a nutraceutical, or you can do peptides in serum form. And I have both that I offer through Now I'll Sell. Have both that I offer through my links at Magical Krissy, where you can talk to me, you can DM me, and we can get you on your own nutraceutical.
What's the website again? What's the website?
What's that?
What's the website?
Oh, just my Instagram. I just use everything's linked because I have like my skincare line, my makeup, and the peptides is in there too. So it's all in my campsite bio on Instagram.
I'm gonna pull up your Instagram while you talk, and you can point things out if you wish.
Okay, yeah, I knew the peptides were getting more and more popular because I was seeing a lot of people switch over to injectable peptides because a lot of the guys started using them.
Yes,
so they were getting off of the
peptides 100%. They're amazing for cell renewal of all kinds. So you can inject them in the knees for like if your knees are bad. People are injecting them in the back. I am looking at doing my under eye because that's when you get into your 40s. That's like an area that ages. I've done PRF, which is where they pull your blood and they pull the stem cells and peptides out of your blood. So it's in my Ray, it's in my links.
Like over here?
Yeah, so there's a collagen peptide, I think, in the campsite bio. I'm working on my website. I have to revamp it because we're going to just be combining spiritual and beauty rather than just spiritual on that website. So yeah, peptides to me.
So it'll be like, oh God, please let me look good.
If you're going to pick one thing, whether it's a peptide internally or a peptide topically, peptide is like my one anti-aging. Like you have to do it. Okay. It's like my desert island.
So quick question. When we go into your link tree, because I'm actually pulling up your link tree right now.
Yep.
Where are we going here?
So there's an elastin, there's peptides, and that's a little bit more of a pricier one. Or you can go into Lumiere de Vie, which is, I think we can search the peptides there and it'll come up.
Spell it.
But there's also a collagen, which I freaking love. You can put that in your coffee in the mornings. That's the collagen and the peptides, and the bovine, which is from, unfortunately, animals. But it's sourced ethically, so nobody gets hurt. Can you get in there? Is it Lincoln?
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm not sharing that screen for some reason. Let me share that screen. I'm so sorry. I think I actually brought it up here. Let me see. It takes a second. Peptides. Here we go.
This is so interesting. So are you guys hooked up through, what is this, Twitch?
This is StreamYard.
Oh, so how are people like talking? Like, as I've never done a podcast where I could see people talking, which I really quite like. This is so interesting.
So I'm not gonna promote them because they don't give me a dime or give April a dime. But off air, I'll tell you how it's hooked up.
Okay, yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, that's super.
Yeah, we don't wear brand names either because they're not paying us to wear it across their chest.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. So
are these the peptides here?
Go up to the search bar. And there is see if the supplement beauty blend will come up from here.
All right, so I could type in beauty blend.
Yeah, it's an oral.
Beauty balm.
Beauty blend.
Beauty blend. I'm doing that. I typed it in.
It may not come up because there's go to shop.com/magical Krissy. It'll come up there. I just don't have that linked yet.
So
shop.com.
Shop.com.
/magical Krissy.
All right. While I'm doing that, you girls can chit chat.
And then you can type in beauty blend and collagen peptides there, and they'll definitely come up there. I need to link that if it's not coming up in the Lumiere de Vie, because I thought it would, but I didn't really check.
And type in Magical Krissy.
It's /Magical Krissy. So did you do shop.com/Magical Krissy? So shop.com is like Amazon for people. Like it's a great, so you can, there's nutraceuticals, there's makeup, there's skincare. It's like Amazon for people. They have everything that Amazon does, but you are your own broker, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, you are your own broker, which is really neat. So you can basically broker anything that they have, and they're like Amazon, they have everything.
This thing right here?
Yep. And so now type in peptides.
Okay. PEP.
TID. Yep. See, there you go. Pure collagen. It comes right up.
Right. I'm going to have to go in and out. Oh, okay. Boom.
Yeah. So that one comes right up. And that's the oral one that I'm going to be launching pretty soon. And that one you can take in your coffee every morning. It doesn't have a taste.
This one right here?
So it's sort of for all over body tightening. And then go down a little bit.
Sure. Tell me when to stop.
Keep going.
The
Pentaxel is triple peptides, and that's 83 bucks, but that's a huge, the Pentaxel is triple peptides, and it sort of has a minty, minty refreshing feel, but that's a great cream for men because it's like in a tube, you just squeeze it out, and there's your triple peptide. That's not a $200 product because the elastin is peptides, but it's a $200 product. So here's your more cost effective, and that would last a long time.
So as a female, could I use the male products and get the same benefit out of them? Just save $120 bucks?
I was going to say this is either or. Yeah, the Pentaxel is either or, but the elastin is just there. You know, they have Galderma and the whole medical field behind them. So they're going to charge. Pentaxel is also a triple peptide, and I used that before I was introduced to elastin, and I love the Pentaxel. Yeah, it gives you like an instant tightening. You can put it on one hand versus the other, and you can see like an instant tightening.
Interesting. Very cool. What's this little gimmick here?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't watched all the videos. There's like thousands of it's like this website is like Amazon. There's thousands of products on here.
That's just pretty cool.
Check it out. I know I wasn't familiar with it. So I'm gonna vote for my favorite things to have done where you are actually spending a little money. I'm gonna say the microneedling.
100%.
Because I feel like that has made an improvement. I'm going to say filler because as you get older, you start losing some volume. Yep. And I feel like the filler especially if you're trying to stay lean, we lose it from our head to our feet.
Yeah.
So
you actually thin out through here. We call it peanut head in the industry. Yeah. It's like if you see somebody with like super thin temples, you can tell that they're older. So that's like an area that we
really hide it with your hair.
Through here, well, you and I both take care of that. So we don't have any peanut heads here. But you start to thin out through here, and then also the jawline starts to thin out as well, and you lose bone density through there. So those are all really good places to do like tightening. But you can kind of see on people, especially really thin people, if they're thin through. I always try to create the triangle of beauty, and I know you do too. So we're always like, okay, how can we create that triangle of beauty? So no peanut heads in the studio today. Ray, you're lucky.
Hashtag no peanut heads.
No peanut heads.
I'm still a big fan of microdermabrasion. I have an at-home thing, so I will do that as well. I find that it's, I just like it, and I also like the peels, like a Jessner peel, every so often removes a layer or 6 of skin. I'm trying to think what else.
No peanut heads.
And of course you got your old faithful, which is the Botox, the original, which is a really scary name if you think of botulism toxin.
100%. Yeah, it's still scary to me, and I've been like doing it forever. So it's kind of a scary word. However, lots of people, places, things in our industry are moving away from botulisms and moving into regenerative medicines, which is your peptides and your stem cells, and using things from the body, drawing it actually from the blood, and putting it back in the face or back in the knees or back in the back for regeneration. I do believe that's the future of medicine.
I think so too. It probably would have been further along if they hadn't. Yeah, if they hadn't outlawed the stem cell stuff for so long in this
100%.
country, we would be much further along.
April, we're almost at the 1:30 mark. So we got about 10 minutes. Yeah, this one flew by so quick. I had to look up. Anything you want to jump into before we end the show?
No, there's a couple of current event things that I wanted to touch on, and then there was a thing about prioritizing with relationships. So I was going to touch on that real fast too. Okay, so real quick, a lot of people have opinions about what's going on with the shootings that have been happening and the shooters that have been happening. And one of the things that I think the general public is missing because they're not getting all the information is that the one common thing that is consistent across the board with every mass shooting is that all of the shooters, nearly all of them, have been on psychiatric medications.
Mm-hmm.
So in the United States, we don't have universal health care. So in other countries, there is a good gun to population ratio, but they do have universal health care, which means they do have mental health.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, even if you have good insurance here and good health care here, it's difficult to get mental health care here. So what's difficult here is the amount of time your doctor will spend with you once you are prescribed a psychiatric medication. Sometimes they'll give you something and it just sends you on your way. And obviously this isn't always the best situation.
It's like a Band-Aid instead of, and right. Oftentimes those Band-Aids are actually like implosives. It's really bad, not good, because you have to address what's causing it. Where's the trauma? Everything comes from trauma. Where's the trauma that's causing the mental illness?
Not just that. I mean, for on average, when you have bipolar disorder, it takes 2 years to get the medication right, whether it's the actual type of meds or the amount. You go through testing, you go through the blood test, you go through everything. So I'm not sure that they're spending that much time anymore with psychiatric meds for the average person. And because of that, maybe we're dealing with more shootings. I don't know, but whether you are pro, anti, whatever, people should know that the one commonality there with the shootings is psych medications. So
absolutely.
That's
and mental health issues. It's the number one problem in, I think, our society that we're not addressing is mental health. And that's why I talk about it openly. Yeah. Because I'm like the poster child for like shoulda, coulda, woulda, but screwed it up because I didn't have the tools that I was like, that's why I'm like a mental health warrior now, because I was so screwed up from trauma and things happening. And then I just destroyed everything in my earlier years. I've done really well from 30 on, but I destroyed everything in my earlier years. Absolutely. And we don't talk about mental health enough in school, or like, that's why I try to be so open about it, because it's so important, because no person that feels loved and taken care of and appreciated is going to go into a school or a church or like whatever it may be and like hurt people. That's just not how we're wired when we're babies, when we're born. That and happens as life goes by.
Exactly. And one of the things we try to do here is to bring you the information in the news that people aren't getting elsewhere. So a lot of people think, we're seeing gun bans, we're seeing open carry, we're seeing all this stuff happening right now. Again, whether you believe in it or not, the Second Amendment does not grant you permission to have an automatic weapon or any weapon. The Second Amendment keeps tyranny from taking your weapons from you. So if you are an American, you should understand the Constitution, because our forefathers, who were probably a lot smarter than we are and lived through a lot worse than we did, they thought free speech and personal protection was so important that of everything they wrote, those were the first two things they put in that Constitution. So being as though those are the two things that are being stripped away, we should really pay attention to that. So there's that. Another thing I want to touch on real quick is ABC News came out today and said that the water hacking in Oldsmar during Super Bowl weekend a couple of years ago was only a hacking. It wasn't a terrorist attack, because the former manager in Oldsmar said that, and he doesn't work there anymore. I reached out to a source who is inside the city. This is not true. It was absolutely a terrorist attack, and the FBI case is still open. And for them to say that it was not something that it is, and
they're blaming it on an outdated computer system. Is that
they're blaming it on an outdated computer system? It was, and they're saying that the FBI had nothing to do with it, and it was just what it is the former city manager. It happened on his watch, and he's embarrassed. So he's trying to play it off and make it, and move on. And it is an outdated computer system. It was easy to hack, and it was during Super Bowl weekend, and it looked real bad. So, but it is an FBI case. It was a terrorist attack. It did happen in Oldsmar, Florida, in Tampa Bay, and that was misinformation that ABC News put out, and that is confirmed by city workers today. So there's that. That is the information that you guys should know and consider that you haven't been able to get with regular news. So leave that with that.
You don't get a lot of stuff with regular news, because I was talking to one of the residents that live in my building, and I said to him, he's a pretty open-minded guy. I'm like, hey man, it's crazy what's happening in Russia over there, right? With the money in China and stuff, and how they're going to use the same currency. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, what?
Yeah.
I looked at him, I said, what? He goes, I said, you don't know anything about Ghana, you don't know anything about India, you don't know anything about Europe, how
they don't know anything about BRICS, nothing.
Yeah. They have no idea. And this is where, working with Ben all these years, I've learned one thing.
Yeah.
Never accept one news source.
No.
Do your own research. Go out there, figure things out, find things.
And don't use Google.
Don't use Google. Don't use Google. We've got a couple minutes left. What do you want to do?
So, no, we're going to promote Krissy, but next week we're going to talk about.
What is that?
We're going to talk about. Oh, so I'm kicking.
That looks like my chart.
It is kind of. We're going to talk about how not to lose yourself in a relationship. So we're going to talk about how the difference between prioritizing a man or a woman in your life versus prioritizing yourself, and why it's not selfish, and what it looks like, and how to do that and stay sane and balance. So, oops,
are you going to prioritize that phone call?
Yeah, no, that's an alarm. So that's my alarm there. So we will talk about that, and we have a lot of other stuff coming up next week. But in the meantime, Krissy, where can people find you? And they want to know if you'll peck flex with us, because we peck flex. No.
What's that? Oh, I don't think I can even do that. I haven't worked out in like 10 years.
Yeah. Well,
wait, what do I do, like this?
I know. Sure. We must. We must see Krissy. Yeah, we call it twitching on Twitch here.
Yeah. And then John Cena goes crazy.
Boobies. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And Elizabeth says that's why they want TikTok to go away. You're right, because the word in that wording for that bill with TikTok allows them to also make other social media go away as well. So you have to make sure that we don't ban it. So, yep. So
interesting.
Wonderful. Well, before you say anything, Krissy, I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure for me on a personal level.
Yeah.
I wasn't just joking. I feel like we've known each other forever. And
agree.
It's been crazy. Now, I don't know if it's like the wrestling thing. It's a very small family. I grew up around, the business and stuff, and I know a lot of people and stuff. But it's just like it was great. It was a weird, great experience meeting you, and you don't know how much I appreciated it. Seriously,
it's so funny because people are always like, "Man, you're a little weird and eccentric, but I sure do like you."
Yeah,
I wouldn't love you any other way.
Weird people are the best. I'm weird.
Yes.
I'm weird. So, I mean, I love it. And just thank you so much, man.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, April, for asking me to be on.
No, I'm glad you could come on. And thank you to our viewers for showing up. Our viewers are weird, for sure.
Yeah, I was
They're wonderful.
No, I loved it. I love being able to see the comments, and people were like, yeah, astrology. Like, it was like super fun to be able to like see the comments.
Once we get off, just stay with us 1 minute and I'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, cool. We might have to do an astrology one where you come on and explain that.
I can go on and read. People can give their, we can like do little mini readings.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Would you guys like that? That would be kind of cool, right? Because there's so many people who don't believe in it. There's so many people who do believe in it. So it could be really cool.
Yeah, this took me for a ride. So
yeah, I'll bet it did. So but yeah, we could talk about Eastern, Western, all of that. So no, thank you for being on. Thank you to everybody who was here. We will be live again next Wednesday. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. If you love us, you can support us, Patreon/The A Show. You can find me on Twitter, Real April Hunter or April Hunter. On Instagram, I'm April Hunter. No, wait a second. I'm not. On Instagram, I'm Real April Hunter. Woo, there's too much. You can find me anywhere on either Real April Hunter or April Hunter. There we go. So, Ray, where are they finding you?
Well, before me, Krissy, I just want to know where we can find you real quick.
I'm really the most active on Instagram, and that's magical.krissy. It's the same on Facebook, but I don't log out as much there. I'm on Instagram a lot, magical.krissy. And my website and everything's linked in the bios.
All right, cool.
Like a unicorn, a magical unicorn. Magical.Krissy, the unicorn.
Yeah, magical.Krissy, easy.
Don't look up Magical Krissy, the unicorn. You might be surprised what pops up. But listen, guys and gals out there, you can follow me on social media, all social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere, at Big Ray Hernandez. Also on Facebook at Raymond Big Ray Hernandez. And if you send me a request and you're not a weirdo, I will accept you.
Or if you're appropriately weird.
Appropriately
weird.
Yeah, right.
And I hate when you accept somebody as a friend. Don't get offended, guys. And immediately, hey, how you doing? You get like a private message. I'm like, wait, let's get to know each other first, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, Krissy, you are awesome, man.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you, everybody watching. Thank you for coming on. So fun.
Yes, thank you for being here. See you guys and next week.
See you next week, guys. All right, we blow kisses.
Or in Tampa this weekend, or in Tampa.